Makima McMakima, oh how I love and despise you. My second favorite character in Chainsaw Man behind Aki Hayakawa, and surprisingly a character that took a while to get figures of. We got Katana Man before Makima in the SH Figuarts line. How? Oh, look at that, a new disc. But when the photos of both the Figma and SH Figuarts Makima figures released, it was clear as day which was better. SHF just looked fantastic, while the Figma looked fine, but I didn't really care for the dirty shirt. Plus the trench coat for the Figuarts? Come on, that's amazing! So obviously I pre-ordered the SHF and went on with my day. Fast forward to when I finally got my Figuarts Makima, suddenly I wanted a Figma. Now that I have both and have properly messed with them, it's really funny looking back at my original opinions on these figures from the promotional photos. For my first video of 2025, let's take a look at both the SH Figuarts and Figma Makima figures from Chainsaw Man. Then find out who's the better groomer. Let's start off with the Figuarts. This figure's weird. On first glance, it looks fine. Shoulders feel like they sit a little low, and the face doesn't look quite right, but the rest is good. I like the white shirt, grey pants look fine, and the hair looks good as well. Her ass is flatter than a Lego tile though, which depending on the screenshot from the manga or the anime, I guess that's accurate. The accessories are also hit and miss. The faces just look off. I can't exactly place why, but they didn't translate right. Kinda like the Figuarts Denji, which is shocking since Power looks perfect. Decent array of hands, my favourite being the Gendo Akari pose hands. Crouching legs that cause a major issue with the figure that I'll get into in a minute. And the best accessory of both figures, her bloody trench coat. I love this thing. It has bendy wire so you can pose it to your heart's content, and it's a brilliant inclusion that brings this botched figure to life. And makes another one even better. More on that in a bit. Now you may be wondering what's wrong with this figure. Well, it all comes down to articulation. I don't know what they were doing, but man, they fumbled such a simple design so hard. The head and feet move great, but that's where my compliments end. For some god-forsaken reason, the shoulders are made in such a ugly way. Yeah, sure, they can bend in a bit farther than the Figma, but Jesus, it looks bad. And the elbows barely go over a 90. Yet somehow the legs and torso are even worse. While the torso looks clean from a front view, it becomes ugly in any other direction. Oh, and it doesn't even move. What? Doesn't crunch for shit, barely rocks around. How? No, seriously, how? You made Power work, and her design is more complicated. How do you mess up a literal white button-up shirt? Now onto the legs. What the hell were they thinking with these hips? Oh right, the stupid leg swapping gimmick. Good job, Tamashi. Now the legs can barely go out before they pop off, for an effect most will never use. Well, sure, they can go forward and backwards fine. The legs popping off lead to a lot of times I just leave her in vanilla poses. Doesn't help her knees barely go over 90 again. It feels like a Figma made it, especially since this reminds me of their Oki. Once you have the trench coat on, you can pull off some alright poses, but she isn't any fun to play with. Oh, she's also really short. Just why? This is all in stark contrast to the Figma, which against all odds actually outdid the Figuarts in just about every way. Which wouldn't be the first time Figma showed a SHF with a red head in a popular shonen. Now this cuts just the right look. I will admit, I don't like the super dirty shirt, where it almost looks yellow, but that is my only visual complaint I have with this figure. And the shirt is one of the only things the Figuarts did better. The proportions look a whole lot more correct. I like the black pants better than the grey, and these faces. This is Makima. All of them look fantastic. Yeah, we get more faces with the Figuarts, but if they all look weirdly off, I'd take the lesser amount of faces if they look like they walk straight out of the anime. The accessories are pretty good too. You get a beer mug, about the same range of hands, though sadly missing the Gendo Akari hands, and my preferred leg replacement accessory, her sitting down. This is so damn cool, and you can use it for plenty more poses than the one from the figuarts, especially if you have this throne like I do. My only complaint is you have to remove her shoes and put them on the sitting legs. Like, just sculpt the shoes. Why do we have to swap them every time? She doesn't come with a trench coat. But if you go to the SHF and you were disappointed like me, it actually fits on this figure. Holy shit. The amount of fun I had combining these together. A good makima figure was the one thing that made the figuarts worth it. Meet an almost perfect makima figure. Now, does her posing fall short? Yes and no. Head moves around enough, though I prefer figuarts' neck articulation more. Shoulders move all around without looking too ugly. Elbows have a double joint so it bends perfectly. What is this, a figuarts? Torso is limited, only slightly better than the SHF, but it doesn't look as ugly, I'd say. Legs don't go as far forward or backward, mainly because she actually has cake, but they can actually move to the sides. Knees also bend really deep, and feet are decent. Overall, while not perfect, it outshines the figuarts even in articulation. So, which is better? Well, I already said it, didn't I? The Figma isn't perfect. I have minor qualms with it, but it poses better, scales better with other Chainsaw Man figures, and most importantly of all, looks like Makima to a T. The SH figuarts can look good from a distance, but when you actually mess with it up close, it becomes a massive disappointment for what is essentially the second most, maybe even most popular character in Chainsaw Man. Meanwhile, the Figma does the character justice, and can even use the best part of the SHF to its advantage. The answer is clear. Figma. Makima wins the battle of best groomer in figure form over the SH figuarts. That is probably the worst sentence I have ever said on this channel. Let's conclude with size comparisons. For figuarts Makima, let's compare some other SH figuarts figures that are actually more complicated than her, yet somehow turned out better. Demon Slayer Tanjiro, Nier Automata 2B, and as the stand-in for the entire bloody Dragon Ball line, Goku Black. For Figma Makima, let's do my favorite Figmas. Persona 5 Joker, Lover's War Kaguya Shinomiya, and my last Figma review, the JJK Gojiro Satoru. The tried and true trio, Sideswipe Lucina Conti. Here are all of my Chainsaw Man figures. The SH Figuarts, Chainsaw Man, Power, Katana Man, Denji, and the Figma Aki. Isn't it funny how Figuarts screwed up Makima so Figma picked up the slack, and now it's the opposite for Aki? Hopefully, at least. If that figure is ass like the Makima and Denji, I'm going to riot because it means I wasted money on two bad figures of my favorite character in the series. Anyway, see you next time. Go play Ace Attorney and watch Sonic Movie 3. Roll the outro.